So when we wrote this song, we were on a retreat in Franklin, Tennessee, and we were doing co-writes, like all our campuses had come together, and got to write with a guy named Corey Voss. It was awesome, and I remember Corey looking at us and just going, "What in like one sentence? What describes your church?" And I just looked at him and I was like, "We are a bunch of messed up people," and we kind of laughed about it. But the truth is, I meant that very affectionately. It was this idea that there's none of us that are perfect, and we're just a church filled with redemptive stories that, we're running from God, and yet somehow God still chooses to chase us, and what happens from there is beautiful, and I tried to capture that in the song.
It was a neat experience for me in the sense that in all the other co-writes that we had done so far, it was led by guitar. People sitting with their acoustic guitars strumming out chords, but Corey picked up his acoustic and he had been tinkering around, but there was a piano behind him, and I just said, can you play the piano? Can we maybe go that route? And he started playing, and there was just something in that moment from the transition musically, switching instruments, and it seemed like at that time, for me anyway, it was like things started to just happen, and a lyric would come, and then another lyric would happen, and we would be like, "No, that's not the right one. Let's work that and push that through." And then it just became this solid biblical building of our story.
The CD was out, the album release party had happened, all that stuff, and we were just walking around as a team. We were praying for Easter, and I was going through each and every chair, and Matchless was playing in the background on the speakers, and just kind of praying over, hey, these are the people that might come and be part of our services, and what's God going to do with them? And all of a sudden, I just kind of had this picture in my mind that was kind of weird. It was these like trails, gory, nasty trails of blood coming from each and every seat in the auditorium. And as you can imagine, that just kind of took me back, like, what in the world? Like, I don't sit around, it's like a horror movie moment, and I continued to pray through that, and as I walked around, those trails really started for me to represent the blood and the pain that really we deserved. Every person that was going to be in that room, and for that matter, the world, deserved to give for what they had done. And then the weight of that just kind of settled into me as I continued to pray through, and by the time I got to the front where our steps are, we use our steps a lot as kind of a place you can come and kneel at the cross, so to speak. And as I got closer, the whole picture flipped for me. It was this moment that it wasn't anything about the blood that we deserved to give. It was actually about the blood of Jesus Christ coming from the cross and covering each and every single person in that room. And so for me, that was a huge kind of spirit-led moment of just confirming the redemptive message that this song carries. My prayer really is that if this song can help us remember that story, this song can remind us of the redemptive story that is in our own life and the redemptive stories of those around us, and keep that forefront in our minds, because no matter if it's a small thing as we see it or a huge thing as we see it that we've been forgiven of, there's a miraculous moment that Jesus Christ changes us from the inside out. If the song can continuously take us back to that, it's accomplishing a great thing. And then on top of that, if it can lead us in response just to this moment, if it can compel us and even drive us to this to the foot of the cross in a way that's almost like an ugly cry, like you can't control it, you're just heaving out this love and this passion for Jesus, for what he's done for us. If this song accomplishes those two things for people, I mean, it's really done something special.
I want to never lose sight of the price of what he paid for me. If you're struggling with pornography, that blood was shed for you. If you're struggling with jealousy, that blood was shed for you and for me. And if you're struggling with stealing, that blood was shed for you and for me. And if you're struggling with lying, that blood was shed for you and for me. And I just think if you stop and look at the weight of that and what this song is saying, that you're going to be moved by his grace and the price that he paid.